sports reporters, welcome back to another week's episode of Keep the Change podcast. I'm Mac, and with me, as always, is Mr. Roberto. We're
What?
rocking the Indians jersey today. How we doing, brother?
Oh, doing good, man. It's another lovely May day here in Ohio. It was, somewhere in the 30s most of the days, 15, 20 mile an hour wind gusts and rain on and off. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I will admit, being up there last week, it was good to see you, but I do remember that I do not miss that weather up there. Man, that Friday we were supposed to go golf, and it was just pouring down there. Oh man,
Yeah,
it was crazy.
there's no way to play.
Um, Well, how's everything been since I last saw you?
And doing good, just staying busy. Uh, been selling some cars,
I saw
trying to.
that you had some good ones you had a bunch couple days in a row. Congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely makes it a little easier. Makes it more fun being at work when you're doing something there.
Yeah, right. Um, Speaking of work, I spring ball started for us. So we have our first practices, and I'm telling you, man, I am getting old. I I was like, you know, demonstrating routes and like doing drills, and I woke up this morning and I felt like I got ran over by a car. My finger hurts. Don't even know why my finger hurts. It feels like I broke it. Don't even know why. Didn't do anything to my finger. Legs are falling apart. But I am excited. Cypress Lake High School, they got their spring game May 26th at the Panther Pit over at Cypress Lake. Um, got a good squad, good group of kids, man. I think I was talking with the head coach Joey. I don't even care if we win any games. I think it's just we have a good group of kids that are all super coachable, hard workers. Definitely give good effort. So it's been fun kind of getting back into it too, because I've had a little break from coaching, but it's been fun, man.
I hope you
Um,
guys win games.
I hope so too, right? Yeah, you always hope you win some games, but no, but it's a good kids. There's a good culture
Yeah.
going on there. Joey Mendez has done a great job over at Cypress, building that program. So I'm excited to see how the rest of spring goes. Definitely excited for the spring game, and then kick some butt in the fall. All right, man. NFL draft wrapped up this week. Thank you to everyone who came to our draft party at El Campesinos. We raised $140 for Mr. Pasquale, a gentleman who passed away with El Camp. So thank you to everyone that donated and participated in our event. So what's your kind of like what's your kind of take from the draft, man?
And so early on, we both said right away within the first, what was that, 15, 20 minutes of the draft, that we thought Houston won the draft.
Oh yeah.
And there's a very good chance they did, but the other team that jumps out to me, and man, I feel like I'm just full on the bandwagon. It's my NFC team at this point, is the Philadelphia Bulldogs. I mean, Eagles. They did it again. What they take? Three Georgia players with their top four picks again, and got Carter. They got Nolan Smith. They got Ringo. I mean, they picked up some ballers,
Yeah,
and
they love those
that.
Georgia boys.
Oh yeah, and there was really it's just the same thing happened with we Kane, the one guy that I work with that's an Eagles fan. He was joking. He said at this point he's convinced that Howie Roseman on draft day or the night before just starts calling around asking people if they've heard the bad thing about the Georgia players. Basically said that he thought Howie was the one that started the rumor last year about N'Kobe Dean having this phantom shoulder injury that nobody had ever heard of, including him, until the day of the draft.
Well, talk about such a crazy story, that kid, from Georgia who gets in trouble with some, I think it
Mhm.
was drag race, street racing,
Right.
or yeah, and then goes right to his pro day, falls out, and then now he's drafted. So talk about a cool story there. But yeah, no, the Eagles did do really really well. Agree with you. I thought the Texans did well. I thought it was hilarious that the Patriots once again, um, just it's like Bill Belichick just doesn't care about the draft.
No.
Um, uh, but what about how were you? How'd you feel about the Browns
And I
picks?
like some of the needs that we addressed. So I'm a big fan of that D tackle. I think he's going to do really good next to Dalvin Tomlin. Having those two together is going to make it to where teams aren't going to be able to put three offensive linemen or two offensive linemen and a tight end or running back on Miles Garrett, because those are some big, massive mammoth of men that we have in the middle of the line now, that you're going to have to double team one of them, if not both of them, on every play. Otherwise, they're just going to bull rush right into the backfield and blow the play up.
Yep.
But and you're double teaming those guys, and you leave Miles Garrett one on one on the end. Game
Yeah.
over. He's going to have 40 sacks this season if he gets an opportunity to go one on one all game, every game.
Yeah. I mean, as we've seen in the past, defensive linemen can really change a game, and I'm a big believer of defense wins championships. So,
Yep.
and that definitely was a good pickup for you. Were there any other ones that you were surprised at or happy about?
I was a little bit surprised that Dwad Jones fell to us. Right tackle out of Ohio State, one of only five right tackles to play every game last year and not allow a sack. 6'8", probably pushing 400 pounds at this point. That was one of the slight concerns, is his weight. He's put on like 20 something pounds since the last time he weighed in, they're guesstimating.
Oh wow.
Uh, but the other thing I read that made him drop so much, because they were talking about him being an early, mid second round pick. He was in the draft process. He told all the teams that honestly playing in the NFL wasn't his dream. Playing in the NBA was his dream growing up. And I guess that turned off a lot of coaches, a lot of GMs. But I like having him behind Jack Conklin. If Conklin's on his last leg, dude's a trooper. He's a warrior. He goes out there and fights. But if he could just get us 6 to 8 games and mold Jones a little bit and let Bill Callahan, the best offensive line coach in football, teach him up for half a season, I think we might have just drafted our starting right tackle of the
That's a
future.
steal.
And Weipler, the center out of Ohio State. Of course, I'm a homer getting some Buckeyes, but a lot of people were saying they think he just came out a year too early. That if he would have stayed for another year, he could have been, a second, third, maybe even a late first round pick. And I watched some footage of him matching up against Jalen Carter, we were talking about earlier, tackle from Georgia in that game. And he was manhandling Carter quite a bit. The kid was impressive. So we've had some question marks at the center position over the last year. So maybe he might be the answer there too.
Dude, starts in the trenches, man, and it sounds like you guys definitely addressed some good ones there.
Yep.
And yeah, Ohio State is always known too to just have they do really good job with their offensive linemen. So
Nope.
yeah, I mean, again, so I
Just think
saw on
about your Bengals.
yeah, well, I was seeing on ESPN today, it's like, did the Brown, they were asking, there was actually, did the Browns do enough to make them contenders in the AFC North? I think they did. I mean, I think it's all going to really come down to what does Stefanski and how does this Stefanski, Deshaun Watson experiment play out this year? But you have the pieces. So I think the Browns definitely have made themselves contenders this year into going in. For the Bengals, I'm pretty happy with the draft picks. I think this was like the first year where like I loved it. We were just going best players available, and I think they just did a really good job of just picking those guys to have just support players. And our pick of Miles Murphy, kind of what you were saying of we're getting our we're getting another guy that's going to cause some mayhem on the what's up, RJ? It's caused some mayhem on the offense or on the for offensive linemen. We addressed some needs at secondary. We picked up a good running back. We picked up a couple more receivers. Um, got a punter, um, which we did
Last
have
time you
some
guys drafted a kicker, it turned out pretty good. So
exactly. So yeah, definitely happy. I think I'm just more excited to see how like OTAs and see how all that stuff plays out and get them back in. Um, All right, man. So let's jump into some NBA. Um, wow, we were so wrong about
Man,
the Kings and Warriors, huh?
man, I really thought they were going to do it. I felt so good about that. They were doing great early in the season or early in the series. The Warriors, when they get hot, though, what do you do?
Yeah, I think the Warriors, a veteran experience took over,
Yeah,
and
I think Fox's injury really played a part in it too.
I think
I
so
mean,
too.
I know he played through it, but you don't fracture your index finger on your shooting hand, especially as a point guard, a ball dominant point guard, and it not affect your game.
Who now are you feeling is like because there was the Heat upset the Bucks, and they're playing really well, even though they just lost one to New York last night, but Jimmy Butler has been just willing that team through the playoffs. Who would you say is the top team to make it to the finals, the contenders now from each conference?
I don't want to jinx them, but it's hard for me to bet against any team that's got LeBron James and against in a 7 game series.
I was
And he's playing kind of pissed off right now with a chip on his shoulder that I haven't seen from him in a few years.
Yes, and he's leading that team very well, and they're all really rallying against him. Um, I agree with you. I don't want to say it, but yes, I do.
Yeah,
I do think I would not want to be playing the Lakers this postseason. I think another team to me that is going to provide some value, and I think it shouldn't even be an upset because I think they're like they finished better, but either way, I think the Sixers are going to take it to the Celtics. I just don't think. I
I,
think we've talked about it before. The Celtics just aren't well coached right now, and you can tell at times when Tatum doesn't want to play, he doesn't play, and there's no one to really motivate him or get him up there and take over. And I think we could see something similar to what happened just with the Bruins, how they had like one of the best teams in hockey and they just lost in the first
yeah.
round. So this isn't the first round, but the Celtics have been one of the top teams in
But
the
how
NBA
about
this
those
year.
Panthers though? One game one in the second round too.
Oh my
Watch
gosh,
out!
right?
All you gotta do is gotta get to the dance, and you never know
That's
what
that is
happens.
it, man. So um I think the Sixers take that series. I do like the Lakers. Uh I
I don't think
do
there's a team that can compete with the Sixers in the East at this point.
no, neither do I. Unless Jimmy Butler just takes total
Yeah,
control. But I do think that the Heat have a chance against the Knicks, but I think that they lose in the finals or in the conference
Eastern
finals. But
Finals.
my favorite out of the West right now is I I like the Lakers, but I really really like the Nuggets right now. The Nuggets are just so good. They are so talented.
Yeah, and I was watching a video today, and they were asking a bunch of NBA players throughout the season how many points would they score if they played in a JV game. Some of the guys they're saying 60, 70, 100, 50. Jokic says, I don't, I'd probably just play the game like I normally do and just do what's best to win.
That's
That's that's why they are the way they are because the whole team has that attitude.
That's what I'm talking about. Jokic, when he's on the court, he is just everywhere. He takes the ball down when he needs to. He sets his screens. He passes the ball well. He rebounds. Like he just plays his role, and he doesn't take stupid shots. And he doesn't make stupid plays. And that's just, and you could tell, like even when they were down, the last game against the Suns, they were down, and just stuck to the pattern. And again, KD is great. Chris Paul's great, but I don't think that two are going to be able to take on a team in the Nuggets. The Nuggets are an all-around team, and they're like you said, they're all
Yeah,
playing well
I
together,
heard that I saw today that I think Paul's out the next 2 games as
and
well.
that's going to be a big. That's going to definitely be a big loss for the Suns because Paul is dangerous when he has the ball in his hand. He's a great facilitator, always has been. I feel bad for the
Yep,
guy. I think he's always just been a
that's on the
true,
big
yeah.
game.
but just can't finish it. Um, awesome, man. Well, hey, I know we had a quick one tonight, so thanks for everyone for tuning in. But yeah, I think the one thing I want to end on here is I think this year's NBA playoffs might be the most entertaining it has been in a long time. Would you
There's
have
no
to?
surefire like guarantees and everything. There's been so many upsets. I gotta agree with that.
Yeah,
NBA play
right.
here. The first round was one of the most. I know my Cavs lost. That sucked. One of the most exciting first rounds we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I think it's been like you said, across the board. Like there has been, and again, going into the playoffs, there was no number one. This is what's going to happen. You know, the way the season kind of ended after All-Star break, everyone made the trades, and there was just some craziness that happened. And then, I mean, everyone got their seeds, and the play-in games were crazy. Like it's just been mayhem and chaos the whole way through. It almost
Yeah.
feels like a little bit of March Madness coming back here for the NBA playoffs, but I'm excited. There's some great round twos coming. And I think even now, I mean, besides the Nuggets one, I think Nuggets are up 2-0, but I think everyone else is at least split. So it's going to be interesting to see how these next couple games go and who can stay healthy through the rest of this playoffs. It's going to be interesting for sure. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate all the support as always. Please keep tuning in and like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you next week. Good luck. We got Kentucky Derby this weekend, so
Oh
later
yeah.
later this week I'll be going live to show you how I read a race program to see if I can get us any winners. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be going live. And yeah. Oh, and we got some good UFC fights on. It's going to be a good week.
Heck yeah.
Summer's coming, and there's some good sports that are still finishing up, keeping us entertained until football season returns back here soon. Only a couple more months. We're almost there. We've hit the
Um,
halfway point.
and baseball's still in swing.
Oh
Get that
yeah.
nice weather going.
It's perfect, man. Summer is
Right.
coming. Can't wait. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. Robbie, it was good to see you, buddy. And
Thanks.
as always, everyone, keep the change.